Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
Welcome into First Pitch for Tuesday, August 23rd. I am Drew Martin, joined by Dave Koken and Brian Leonard of WagerTalk.com. We're breaking down 3 games on the slate. We got best bets at the end, 2 of the best baseball minds in the business. We get the White Sox and the Orioles, Mets, Yankees, Brewers, and Dodgers all before best bets. So let's get into it now, guys. Heading to Baltimore, talk about a critical game here for the AL playoff picture. Dave, coming to you first. We get the White Sox and the Orioles. Dylan Cease versus Voth going for the O's. 7.5 being the total, minus 135. That's what we can call the White Sox, depending where you're shopping out there. Dave, you liking anything in Camden Yards tonight?
Mild opinion here. I think if you look at the line, say, well, Dylan Cease only $1.30, $1.35. That looks pretty tempting. But look at anything else in the game, to me, and it points to the Orioles. First of all, Austin Voth it's been a surprise, like many of the Oriole pitchers. There's nothing in his profile to suggest that he's a good pitcher, and yet he's posting good numbers. And if you look at his numbers this month, ERA is under 3, well under 3. His analytics aren't that great, but the fact is he's getting the job done. So I don't give Cease a huge edge on the mound, especially since, while he's dominant, he's better at home than he is on the road. And the offense, got to go with the Orioles. They are finding ways to win games, while the White Sox are just the opposite to me. Look, we're mid-August now, late August. The White Sox are what they are, which is a .500 baseball team that plays lousy defense. And outside of a couple of guys, they really haven't had a consistent offense. Abreu's been terrific. But there's Moncada's been awful. Tim Anderson's out. Bottom of the order is not real good. I think the Orioles are just a better team at this point. So despite what might be an advantage on the mound for the White Sox, it's a team game. And at plus money, I would have to look at the Orioles side here.
Yeah, good take there, Dave. Brian, coming to you next. To Dave's point in terms of, maybe not that big of a pitching advantage for the White Sox. I mean, Cease is a great starter in MLB, but also something to add there. He was supposed to start on Sunday night, getting pushed back 2 days. Sometimes that can kind of be a quirky handicap in itself. What are you thinking tonight in Baltimore?
Yeah, this is going to be my best bet, so I'll be brief on it. But Dave's right about Cease. He's been very fortunate. His xFIP isn't nearly as good as his ERA. And Austin Voth is a guy who is a starter who St. Louis put in the bullpen. And then he gets traded, and then Baltimore realizes he's a better starter, so they stretch him out. And he's pitched very well. This is a good pitching ballpark for him. And he's had some success here. So, yeah, from a side standpoint, I side with Baltimore, but my best bet will be on the total, and we'll get to that in just a few minutes.
Absolutely. As we head to another good game here, playoff implications, absolutely, in the Subway Series. Brian, coming to you first, we get the Mets and the Yankees. Walker versus Montez. We're seeing minus $1.25 here. That's the Yankees at home. 8.5 the total. Another interesting handicap towards the pitchers. Good one tonight in Yankee Stadium. Brian, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I was out on an island yesterday when I had the Yankees. I did 2 shows. I did yours, and I also did the morning show with Teddy Covers. And I used the Yankees as my play, and I think I was the only person I had talked to yesterday who liked the Yankees in that game, and it worked out well. So just keep in mind, if a team's not playing well, they're still, you got to take a look at what they've done over the entire season, and to get them at that size underdog yesterday was, at least in my mind, a gift. It worked out. We'll see what happens today, but this one's a little bit different. Is I've been looking to fade Frankie Montas pretty much all year. He's got decent numbers when you take a look at his StatCast numbers, but he just hasn't been impressive. And I talked a little. I had lunch yesterday with a lot of other handicappers in town, and we talked about how going to certain cities affects you. Joey Gallo going to the Yankees, a lot of pressure playing in New York. He didn't have the personality for it. Although LA's laid back, but he's still a very good team. And he goes there, and all of a sudden the Dodgers are winning and the Yankees are losing. Frankie Montas pitched for the Oakland A's. Nobody cares about baseball in Oakland other than the 500 fans that come to every game. Now he's pitching in Yankee Stadium, and that's a concern. He hasn't pitched well since he's been there. I don't think he's fully healthy. Walker's one of those guys that no matter when I pick against him, pick on him, I can't get it right, or I would be playing the Mets here. Walker's been a guy that just surprises the hell out of me certain times, and other times he disappoints. So I don't think the Yankees should be favored here. Slight lean to the Mets, but based on my history of the Walker, I'll sit this one out.
Okay, yeah, I feel what you're saying on Walker. And actually, he's another guy where, not on normal rest. He actually missed his last start due to back spasms. Dave, coming to you next. What you liking anything here in Yankee Stadium, Mets and Yankees?
I had a lean on the under in last night's game, first 5, and that got there. I wish I'd have played it. The game I played did win, so I'm not going to complain about last night's results. But tonight, I think maybe you look the other way. I'll echo what Brian said about Frankie Montas. He's pitching in front of big crowds now, big pressure, rather than the family and friends that he pitched in front of in Oakland. And so far the results have not been good. Walker, we'll give him a pass on his last start because apparently he did have some kind of an issue. He'd been pitching well. He got bombed in that last start. But, maybe the Yankees finally showing a little signs of offense. Judge hit went out last night. Benintendi's starting to swing the bat, which is why they picked him up. I think they can get to Walker here. And the Mets offense is just really good. Got held down last night, but that was against a guy who is in good form right now in Herman and who was really excellent with his command last night. I wouldn't expect the same thing out of Montas. So I think the makings here are for a higher scoring game. Mets bullpen is outstanding, and Diaz is fresh, but the Yankees bullpen is a little bit used up right now, and they're short-handed. So even late innings, you could see some runs. I will go with the over in this game. Not on my card, but it's a lean.
Could see that. Hitter-friendly park there in Yankee Stadium, 8 and a hook for that total. Another interesting note here, kind of speaking towards what the Yankees did in the trade deadline. I know it wasn't the same trade, but ultimately it was Frankie Montas coming in for Jordan Montgomery. Montgomery now 4-0 with under a 1 ERA since being traded there. And Montas giving up his ERA right at 9 in his 3 starts. So not the best at trade deadlines from a pitching standpoint for the Yanks. Something to watch there going forward. We got one more game heading out west late night here. Dodgers Stadium for the Brewers and the Dodgers, guys. Dave, we could start off with you first. Corbin Burnes looking to go over 200 strikeouts on the season and get that strikeout crown. They're plus price, though, up against the Dodgers, minus 145 with Tony Gonsolin on the hill. You liking anything Dodger Stadium tonight, Dave?
Well, it's in a price, so I'm not going to play it. Brewers get a good win yesterday. They actually beat a lefty, which they didn't do a lot of offense, but they did put 4 on the board altogether and got a good performance from Lauer and the bullpen. And the Dodgers actually haven't hit lefties lately and didn't last night. And they had some good opportunities early in the game. That was actually the game I played yesterday. I played first 5 under, and it was 1-0 after 5, so that was a nice, easy winner. Baseball's going pretty well right now. In this game, I'm just going to point to the one obvious number, and that is Gonsolin, first 5. On the year, 14, 2, and 6. And if you're going to get Burnes, you usually get him early. Because once he develops a rhythm, he can be really tough. So it's not a game I'm going to play. I don't want to go against Burnes. Brewers are better against righties, but there's just no chance I'm going against Gonsolin, who's been a win machine all year for the Dodgers, and I suspect he will be here. I'll lean Dodgers, but not for selection.
Okay. And Brian, I don't know if you knew that, but both of these two pitchers were teammates in college at St. Mary's there. I found that interesting back in 2014. Also interesting note here, Brian, LA is 33-5 since July 4th. What a record. 33-5 since July 4th against all teams not named the Brewers. The Brewers actually 3-2 against them. So they've kind of had their number, speaking towards the Dodgers here. Maybe something to point towards the Brewers, Brian.
Yeah, I kind of talked about this last night. As you had two teams that will likely be in the playoffs, and you had one team was a huge favorite. Tells you what the lines makers think of the Dodgers, and here we got again. Dodgers open 160. I'm seeing 145 to 150, but going against Corbin Burnes, who could win the Cy Young this year. I mean, Gonsolin's been great, but he's always had injury concerns. But he has been really good this year. In fact, Gonsolin's numbers are better than Burnes, which is pretty impressive. Like Dave, I don't want to go against the Dodgers because the Dodgers are at home and the Dodgers are the Dodgers, and I don't want to go against Burnes. I took a look at the total. 7's a reasonable total, but it would not surprise me if both these guys I think have been a little bit better or haven't been quite as good as their numbers have. So with the hitters in this game, especially from the Dodgers side, I could probably see it going over, but I'm not going to stand in the way of these two pitchers. So unfortunately, another game which I don't have much to add.
Fair enough, Brian. We got best bets coming up, guys. And huge shout out to the chat box. Like always, Paco Healy saying what's up in Southern California. Isaiah, he's like in the Brewers towards the over. Raven Ron going back with the Dodgers money line, even though they weren't too kind to him last night. So huge shout out to the chat box. Like always, guys, everybody throwing in what you're looking to bet, what you're thinking here. Jay Bradley in the house. Jessica, how you doing as well? So we got Brian Leonard, Dave Koken. Guys, check them both out, WagerTalk.com. Dave Koken, number one in profits at college football all time at WagerTalk. He's also 6-1-1 current MLB run right now. And Brian, for the last 5 years in MLB, to the positive on the diamond. He's also WagerTalk's number one NHL net profit the last 5 season leader. So both of these guys got number ones next to their name, and they both know their baseball. They both also know their college football, and it's game week with week 0 starting on Saturday. So guys, let's head over for best bets for the show. Any final thoughts? Dave, we can start it with you, man. What do you got for best bets, final thoughts for the show?
Well, first on college football, I have 3 week 1 best bets, one of which is free. And I just posted a week 0 selection where I think the line's a little short on this game. I'm really down on the team I'm going against. Not so much up on the team I'm playing on, but very much down on the team I'm going against. I think they are going to struggle big time this year. So I think I can take advantage of that here. So that's up right now at WagerTalk, along with a baseball play tonight. Just one play. That's up for all access customers. Best bet, I'll go back to the Mets-Yankees game. I think the Mets have a good chance to hit Frankie Montas, who's really struggling. Not sure about Taijuan Walker, who's a guy he can be tough to handicap. But the Yankees starting to show some signs of breaking out. I think they're going to get Stanton back in a couple of days, by the way. That'll really help their offense. I think there's a good chance of an over here, and that's the way I'll play this. Over the 8.5 full game, Mets and Yankees.
Guys, I'm going to head to Baltimore, jump on the Orioles here, plus 1.5 runs at home. Most profitable team in baseball, both on the run line and the money line. I'm going to put the 1.5 in my pocket here for kind of insurance, but also because I think it might be a low-scoring game. Yes, Dylan Cease, a great pitcher in Major League Baseball, but one reason I'm liking the Orioles here, he's not on his normal rest. His start got pushed back on Sunday night. Also, the White Sox bullpen. They used all of their relievers last night outside of one, so I think the later innings going to favor the Orioles here. And speaking of Voth, their starting pitcher tonight, his last 11 starts, he's got under a 2.7 ERA. His last time out against the Blue Jays, in my opinion, a better hitting team than the White Sox, definitely against righties. That's what the numbers tell us. He only gave up 2 hits in 6 innings. I think this guy Voth is pretty good, 2.6 ERA, last 11 starts. Let's get on the Orioles, plus 1.5 on the run line at home. That's my best bet. Throw it over to Brian Leonard. Again, guys, NHL, number one, and he knows his baseball for the last 5 MLB seasons to the positive. So, Brian, throw it over to you. Final thoughts, best bet for the show, buddy.
Yeah, we've got 2 plays up for our clients. One of them is this early game, the first game of the doubleheader with the Cardinals and the Cubs. That'll be going off in roughly 15, 20 minutes. I also have one on the nighttime card. We've won 5 straight days in baseball, and let's continue it here today. I'm going to head back to that same game that you just spoke to in regards to the White Sox in Baltimore. And to your side in this game, if you take a look at the ERAs and the xFIPs on the season, Cease is basically pitching 1 run better. His ERA is 1 run better than his xFIP is, and Austin Voss 1 run. His xFIP is 1 run better. So that's one of the reasons why, despite the names on the uniforms of the starters in this game, money's been coming in on Baltimore, and people like yourself, a smart baseball handicapper yourself, is on the Baltimore Orioles here. I'm going to take a look at the under in this matchup. I like both Cease and Voth. If you take a look at what they have done from a hard hit rate and that kind of thing, it works out very well. This is a good, since they moved the fence back in left field 20 feet, it's gone from a hitter's paradise to a pitcher's paradise, and you got both pitchers. Basically, the fly ball rate is about 40%, so there could be some fly balls here, but it works out really well for both of them because of the stadium they're playing in. It's a situation for myself. Cease does walk too many batters. He's got about a 10% walk rate, which is a concern. But I like the way these teams have played out. I like the way Baltimore's bullpen has played out. Even though they traded their closer in Lopez, obviously they really love this young kid, and he's going to be a stud for years to come. But I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, and we'll take the under 7.5 between Cease and Voth.
There he is, Brian Leonard on the under, 7.5 minus 120. I'm on the Orioles, same game, slightly correlated, plus 1.5 minus 145. And Dave Koken, Mets, Yankees, Subway Series. Look for some runs over 8.5, light juice on that. So for Dave Koken, Brian Leonard, check them both out, WagerTalk.com. Again, guys, number one's next to their name. Depending on the sport, they know their college football, know their baseball as well. And I am Drew Martin. Tony Mejia, $2 handicapper. Check him out. Best bet just discounted to $2 on Tuesday, $2 Tuesday. Feel free to reply below if you're watching on replay. Please smash that like button. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. Best of luck until then. Thanks for tuning in.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.